So I recently sat down and reread Infinity War. Seeing as a movie adaptation is coming out in 2018, I came up with a pitch involving the character more deadly than Thanos. So, everyone is speculating what happens after Thanos, or who's the biggest threat there is. Well, I'm here to give an alternative, so obviously, it seems as if Thanos is going to be the main villain for the Infinity War, which kind of brings up the point, where will Adam Warlock fit into all this? Because, I mean, if you've read Infinity War, he is a really big central character, and we've seen him in the MCU, and the collector's, collections, the Cocoon and all that. So, I mean, I'm waiting for him. We're waiting for him. Come on, Warlock. Alright, so this is where I begin theorizing. So, in the comic, Adam Warlock basically takes possession of this artifact known as the Infinity Gauntlet. He expels the good and evil aspects of his being to become a totally logical, non-emotional person, basically. Doing that, he can use the gauntlet more responsibly and more wisely, and it really gives him more access to its power because he's thinking, you know, just how he should, no emotions involved. So, this act pretty much recreates his evil persona as a human in itself, and becomes his old, new foe, future past foe, Magus, who desires universal conquest and revenge against Warlock and the Titan Thanos. So this would obviously take place perhaps 2 or 3 movies after Infinity War if they continue with the normal storyline they're having with the movies. You can start the movie by showing Adam before a jury of the cosmic powers being ordered to surrender his godhood, and, you know, once he's found guilty of being unworthy, then they could show Magus collecting all 5 of the containment units, which are pretty much another name for the rest of the cosmic cubes, besides the blue one that Loki usually has. And with that, the power gained, he creates an interdimensional realm and an army of doppelgangers of the Avengers, which would be pretty cool. Imagine, Captain America fighting another really messed up version of himself. And, you know, before we get further of this, every single stone has to be functional in order for Magus to actually be able to be defeated. So, you can have Magus attempt to kill Thanos on nowhere, and in the destruction, Thanos escapes and retreats to warn Warlock. Then, the Magus sends a doppelganger to Earth and distract the heroes, and then the evil doppelganger of Captain America can detonate a bomb, and when the heroes assemble at the Triskelion, basically. So, that'd be a cool moment, the Triskelion just kind of, you know, blowing up. So, then they have a surprise attack by the Magus himself and the doppelganger of Thanos. And then they could have, which in the comic, that would set up the Avengers believing that Thanos is actually working with Magus. And they already have a reason to hate Thanos and not trust him. So, that would kind of set up what happened in the comic. As to the climax, you can have a message sent from Adam Warlock, who is being helping the real Thanos, to meet them somewhere in the Milky Way galaxy, you know, maybe on the other side, and they already have technology to transport them. So, I mean, Doctor Strange can probably take them, because he can travel between dimension, realms, and other places in the world, universe. Once there, some of the Avengers and Guardians are securing an Infinity Gem, which is then given to Warlock to put in the gauntlet. It doesn't work, you know, it doesn't turn on, or it doesn't function. So, you know, they could be like, what other options are there? You know, what do we do now? You know, are they done? You know, are they doomed? So you can have Doctor Strange go into the Red-Blue Judge, which is a Celestial who judges civilizations. And I think they showed, I don't know if it was him, but they showed one of the Celestials and Guardians, so they're already established. You could just have them come in. Then you can have Star-Lord arrive with a nullifier or a similar weapon, because I believe it was created by Reed Richards, so Fantastic Four would own the nullifier. So, in this case, since Marvel doesn't own the rights, you know, just have Star-Lord arrive with some big weapon built by Rocket. Then Thanos then begins persuading Star-Lord to use it against the Magus, knowing that Star-Lord would also be destroyed. In the comics, Thanos was persuading, I can't remember his name, but he knew he would be destroyed, but, you know, he wanted him to do it anyway, so. But this wasn't him being evil, you know, it was really the only option they had. So, I mean, it'd be a good part, because it makes the Avengers seem like the bad guys, you know? Almost irrational. And it makes Thanos, He's a good guy basically in this run, you know? He's a good guy. He lives in the universe. He doesn't want it to get destroyed. So then you could have Warlock and the still inactive Gauntlet are captured by the Magus, and Warlock is then defeated, and the Magus is severely weakened in the battle and attempts to use the containment units, which we talked about before, but then discovers that they have been stolen by Ant-Man and another Avenger. It could be anyone, really. Perhaps Yellow Jacket, who's a good guy then. Well, I mean, a new Ant-Man and a new Yellow Jacket, because they're going to be really old from the Ant-Man we're going to get. But basically, in the comics, it's Doctor Doom and Kang the Conqueror. So you could have them steal the containment units. So after they have stolen them, after you find out, you could have them showing up in front of Magus and demanding to get the gauntlet, you know, because they have the power needed to bring it back. And Magus, you know, is just like, what's going on? How did you guys... Because in the comic, Magus, he's basically all powerful. He has like kind of like a screen portal. He can see everything that's going on. So he knows what the Avengers are doing at every moment, what Galactus or Doctor Strange are doing at every moment. He knows. He can change courses. He can change what's going to happen by pressing a button. That's how much power he has. But with Doctor Doom and Kang in the comics, he wasn't expecting them to do this, so he never noticed them in this huge plan. He never saw them. So that would work out great, just have Ant-Man and Wasp or something just appear in front of him and take him by surprise. So, Doctor Strange, you could jump to Doctor Strange after this, and you could have him just barely arrive to the Celestial's location, and he could then explain and request the gauntlet to be reactivated in order to stop Magus, which the Celestial would then agree to. And then they can have a scene where Magus easily defeats Ant-Man and basically blows up Star-Lord, you know, just dies. Which would be cool, you know, finally, 2 deaths. People complain about people not dying. Here, it would make sense. Then, after, you could jump to, Thanos fighting his doppelganger, because he breaks into the ship where Magus is. So you could have them fighting for a bit, which would be cool. One of the biggest villains in the Marvel Universe that they had is fighting himself. You know, you could show more of Thanos, which would be really cool. So he defeats himself and distracts the Magus, allowing Warlock to grapple with the villain for the gauntlet. So after this, you can have a Warlock released from the gauntlet, a being that is a composite of the entity Eternity and his twin Infinity, which play a pretty big role in the comic as well towards the end. And then you could have those two incapacitate Magus, allowing Warlock to absorb the character into the Soul Gem. Which, if you don't know, in the comic, if you get sucked into the Soul Gem, you're basically stuck there forever unless you're powerful enough to get out. So, you know, it's cool because it's basically the end, because Magus is made up of Warlock's bad part of his soul. So really, he doesn't have his own soul. He's less than a soul. He's an entity. So he would never be able to get out. Because even the people who are already stuck in there wouldn't even be able to see him. Because he just doesn't exist. So, this whole thing could pretty much put Warlock in a coma. It's such overwhelming power and energy that it takes from him. And then you could have Thanos revealed to what's left of the Avengers, the ones who haven't, like, died or left, that the Magus was tricked and never gained the true power of... Because, you know, in the comic, he had the... I think it was the reality gem all along. And it's a big deal because, you know, Warlock had the Infinity Gems the first time. So he gave it to everyone he trusted, and one of them was Thanos. But no one knew who had it because they didn't want to reveal. And because, you know, they wouldn't like that at all. So then after that, you could have Thanos reveal the Secret Guardian. So after Thanos reveals that they never had the real reality gem, you could have the heroes go back and, you know, just mourn the loss of their friends who died. And for the final credit scene, you could have the good side of Warlock's soul, because they separate into two, the Magus, and I can't remember what her name was, but it's another entity, the good side. And she ends up stealing all the Infinity Stones, and she has them all to herself. And basically Thanos is like, even though this is all over, I can't help but feel, you know, there's something worse, like, there could be another threat in the universe. And it cuts to her sitting in space, holding all of them. So that could be the next leading up to the next movie. Or they could not and go into something new, you know, like the Marvel Illuminati or Namor, you know, something like that, which would be cool. Another cool thing about doing this whole Infinity War storyline is it would evolve Thanos as a character. Because in the end, he's really not a bad guy. I actually have it right in front of me. There's a cool scene where he's talking to himself. It's and what are you, Lord Thanos? Hero? Villain? Neither? Maybe just wiser. And it's cool, you know, because he's not really anything. He's just, he doesn't want any more trouble, really. Because he evolves as a character with Gamora. Because it's his daughter, you know, and evolves their relationship. It really hits at home, you know, because he does care about her. And they're like, I hope the next time I see you is not as a enemy. So he's evolved a lot. You could really tell the difference, and it really makes you like Thanos a whole lot more. And I think it would just be really great. But that's my theory for what could happen after the whole Infinity War movie and the direction they could take it, which I think would be pretty cool in my opinion. But let me know what you think and leave your comments down below.